Hey, it's Coral, and welcome back to the Forward Thinker Show, the podcast where we share the stories and expertise of global leaders in business and technology. Today, we have Isabella Vieira Estrada. Of course, she's a dear friend of mine. She's just finishing up her studies in mechanical engineering, and she's previously worked at Boeing, Tesla, Google, and now she's gonna go and live in Boston, Massachusetts as a rotational engineer at Boston Dynamics. Hi, Isabella. Welcome to the pod.
Hi, Cora. How are you doing today?
We're doing good. We did like a workshop a few months ago, helping girls
Get the offer.
get that offer.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was very
if
fun.
you weren't at Shell Hacks, you missed out. Isabella, how are you doing? How are you feeling now that you're almost done with school, girl?
I'm ready to be done.
Who is
it's
it?
funny because like at the beginning of the semester, I was like, I don't want to graduate yet. Like I want to like extend my graduation.
Yeah.
But now that it's November, I'm like so ready to just finish.
You're checked out already.
Yeah. Like my assignments, I'm like, do I really need to like complete it? But then like I don't want to, end up with a bad grade on any of my classes. But I'm just ready to finish.
You're ready to go. I get that. I understand that feeling, but my feeling's a little bit. I extended my time here a little bit because I still have more things to learn and get from people, but I still feel that sentiment from time to time. I'm like, I'm ready to check out.
Yeah. I mean, I did extend my graduation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm graduating in 4.5, so this is my extension, so I'm ready.
I get you. I get you. Well, Isabella, for people who don't know you, I always start with the question, where are you from? I want to know, where did Isabella come from?
I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I moved to Miami, Florida in 2018, and have been living in Miami since then.
Oh, awesome. So, Isabella, you were from Puerto Rico all the way to Miami, and then through that experience, since then, you've done some pretty cool stuff, right? So I wanted to know, like, what made you get into, like, the world of technology and, like, building cool stuff?
I feel like it's been a slow process. Like, I wasn't those type of kids that would work on their computers growing up. Like, I was very much like, I didn't like computers or technology, so I would avoid it at all costs. But in high school, I started taking physics, started taking calculus. So my physics professor really pushed me into studying engineering. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I'll try it out. I ended up liking it. Like, I don't think I have a immediate, like, passion for engineering. Like, I won't go home today and work on my, like, computer or, like, build a personal project. But I do love learning about, like, new technology and kind of, like, what's influencing today's like everyday life for everyone. And so since I've been like studying engineering for the past 4.5 years, I've been like able to do different internships that have really kind of shown me how engineering is actually applied in the real world environment. And that kind of helped me kind of grow into engineering more. Like, I do enjoy my classes, but like I've never like sat in like thermodynamics and be like, oh my god, I love learning thermo.
I love thermodynamics.
Exactly.
I love physics.
But it's
I
been
love
like
baking planes.
Exactly. But it's been slow, but I think now I have more of a passion for it. Yeah.
And through that, you kind of learn that there's a lot of struggles that you took to get there, right? Like, throughout your experience, I would
100%.
imagine that.
Yeah. Especially, like, when I started in Miami, so I moved in for junior year of high school.
Yeah.
And so my parents enrolled me in the Cambridge program, which it's, like, ACE as well. And if you don't know what it is, it's kind of like an IB program where you, like, take advanced classes, and then at the end you take exams. So I was coming from a public school in Puerto Rico where, like, we barely learned in English. And then, like, all my classes were in Spanish to now, like, an advanced program in Miami where, like, all my classes were in English. And it was just so hard that I always say that college was a breeze compared to what I had to go through in high school. So I think it's been I've had, like, my roadblocks, but I'm very happy to see, like, where I am today.
That's awesome. And you went to Reagan, right?
I did go to
Yeah,
Reagan.
we both went to Reagan.
Yeah.
Slay. Go Bisons. And honestly, I think about that. When you're in high school, you kind of like, you were sort of thrown in there. You were thrown into the dark pit and into the dark pit of just like grinding it out.
Yes, 100%.
Super early on. And you did AP too. No.
I did full enrollment, AP, and Cambridge in 2 years.
Yes.
And I remember just comparing myself, like, naturally you compare yourself to your peers. And, like, they were all, like, excelling.
Yeah.
They had also, like, been raised here, right?
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to be, like, at their pace. So I had to, like, I was sleeping less than them. And just, like, putting that extra mile to be at the same level as they were, since they had been, like, you know, growing up in Miami and I hadn't. Yeah. So, I don't know. I wouldn't change anything, but it was definitely hard.
Yeah. That's so cool, though. That you literally had to put in, like... I get that sentiment. Like, you have to put in double the times of work so I could get, like, half of the result. It's kind of like a thing people tell, like, women or people, or when you just don't know that much in general. That's how much you have to work hard. And now, if people who don't know Isabella, she's also a business owner. I'm gonna call her a business owner, entrepreneur. She's an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur and have a nonprofit. So you have a nonprofit called Coffee Chats with Isa. And the thing with that is, like, you actually help people because you already went through the struggle.
Yes.
And now you're helping others ease their way into that struggle. Exactly. That's awesome. So what made you want to get started with Coffee Chats?
So I was already mentoring students since my freshman year of college. So I started working as a peer career coach for the Career Center here at FIU. And in this position, I would review resumes for students. I would give them insights on, like, career fairs, help them with the workshops that employers were hosting, etc. And then this gave me kind of like the introduction to, like, mentorship. And then by sophomore year, I was earning internships. So when I would come back, a lot of my peers would ask me, like, Isabella, like, how did you do that? They just asked me for advice, and then I would help them with their resumes, their interview prep, and then they would get the internships too. So I kind of, like, realized, like, wow, like, my advice is actually helping people, and it's actually having, like, a positive impact on others and my peers. So I, in a way, like, I was like, okay, so, like, it has value. Yeah. And then I was just, like, mentoring so many of my peers that I decided to do something more official and have an impact, like, nationwide, not just at FIU. And, like, that's kind of how I started it. Like, I just, like, and it took me a really long time to start it, even though, like, I wanted to start it, like, a year prior to when I launched it. Because I was like, who am I to be, like, mentoring people officially? Like, I'm still a student. I'm at FIU, so, like, I'm not a target school. So, like, there's just, like, a lot of, like, doubt in starting it that I wouldn't, like, I am so happy that I did, because I've been able to mentor, like, over 150 students now. Wow. And for free.
That's like a school.
Yeah.
Girl.
It's been a lot. And, like, I do it for free. So
starting now.
The thing is, like, because I can't guarantee anyone an internship or a full-time offer, because it's not really in my hands. It's more of, like, the job market isn't aligned. Like, do I have luck? I think that's why I don't charge people.
I mean, if it's a nonprofit, you can also have, like, people who sponsor your thing. So, like, you'd rather that than, like, the 100%. Kids coming to pay you, but someone else paying.
Yeah, in an ideal scenario, I would have donors from like either schools or industry, like, employees, or just, like, larger donations. I would never want to, like, have students pay for it, because they're just struggling. And I feel like it's knowledge that I don't think they should be paying to acquire. Like,
I mean, like, there's some iffiness about it. Like, people, like, career consulting, when you're a professional helping other professionals, they have jobs. They can pay for, like, that kind of consulting if they want to become an executive and stuff. But your thing is with students, right?
Undergraduate students.
Which,
mainly, like, are broke. They're in debt.
You're
trying to struggling.
You're trying to help them up. So I want to ask you, what's, like, the biggest misconception surrounding mentorship, and also how can mentees ensure that they get the best out of the relationship?
I feel like the biggest misconception with mentorship is, like, always needing something, like when you give mentorship, you're always, like, expecting something back. And I feel like, especially for employers, like, that are older, like, industry professionals, I think a lot of them, like, shy away from mentors because they're like, what is that? Like, what what is in it for me, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's part of it, right? Like you're just trying to help others. It's like when you're volunteering to clean up a beach, I guess like the end outcome is like you're gonna have a cleaner beach.
Yeah.
So if you're volunteering to mentor students, then the end outcome is gonna be, well, students are gonna be better prepared, and it's gonna be because of you.
Yeah.
So I just feel like people should focus less on the monetary value of mentorship and like not always, expect people to pay you for it, and just do it like out of the goodness of your heart and just because you want to help students.
Yeah. I guess specifically for students, especially like that demographic, it's way different demographic. Like their needs are different versus like someone who's a business owner who's trying to grow their business.
Exactly.
And they want like a strategic consultant in marketing or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
and
girl, get your money if you want to do it like that. Yeah.
Like, and there's companies like Leland.
Yeah.
They do like not mentorship, it's called like coaching.
Yeah.
For like grad school.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like typically like they're, industry professionals that are making like at least $80K a year.
Yeah.
They can afford $100 an hour.
Yeah.
But for me, like I would never dare to like charge a student $100 an hour.
Like a 15-year-old or
like,
something like that.
Mate,
Yeah.
There's other people my age charging students $100 an hour to just talk to them.
I mean,
That
that's a
is
topic
too
for
much.
I mean, okay. I'm kind of like, because I know some of the people who do charge, and like my thing with it is it's like sometimes people use it as like a filter because they get so much demand.
Yeah.
So like you've mentored 150. Imagine someone who has like 150,000 requests.
Yeah.
They're only one person, right? So I think that in that case, I could understand it.
Yeah.
But like students, I don't know. Maybe like another demographic might help.
Yeah. Like I also feel like maybe when I'm older and have like 15 plus years of experience, I feel like I have enough experience and knowledge to charge people. But right now I'm just talking to them about like the step-by-step process that I took, and then hopefully it helps them.
Yeah, hopefully. Right. So what have you seen, like what are some things that mentees, people who are receiving your advice, what can they do so that they put their best foot forward and ensure they get the best out of that relationship?
It's really important for them to not feel like entitlement to a job. Like I see a lot of people just coming to me like, oh, so like you've worked at X company, like can you give me a referral? Like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's very important for mentees to come with a purpose. Like I want to learn this from Isabella. Like I want to see how she got into Google, how you got into Tesla. Can you review my resume? What about your interview prep? Can you like recommend that I like practice, right?
Yeah.
Just be more specific with the questions, but don't ask me for a referral. It's
just
one, I can't give referrals. Like I'm still in school. Like I'm not like a employee.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to be like feel like I'm being used. And it's very different when someone like asks me for like a favor, like a referral, versus asking me for advice. It's very different.
Yeah.
So when people approach me with like advice, I'm like more keen to like help them out. Whereas like when people approach me like, and it's just obvious that they just want to like use my connections, it can get annoying.
No, I get that. And here's the thing with referrals that like my philosophy on it. The best referrals are not from strangers. Their best referrals are from people who worked with you and know you. Because like I know in like some referral systems for some companies, like the employee has to write an essay about you and how they know you and how they're connected with you. And so if they say like, this kid just like asked me annoyingly that they want a referral, they're going to be like, oh, that's just a courtesy referral. We'll just throw that in the trash.
Exactly.
That's not even like something we'll consider.
Yeah.
But like, let's say, for example, you and your friend worked on a project sophomore year and it was a really great project. And then years later, that person works at this company and then you just so happen to be like, oh, hey, you want an internship here? I could give, I'm like, hey, I like this position. I remember when we worked together on this, like, could you give me a referral? I was like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit. And then I'd write about, like, I know this kid because I've seen him work in real time.
Exactly.
And so, like, you don't know if you give a referral to a stranger, like, you don't know their work ethic. You don't know if they're going to embarrass you. Because imagine if you give, like, I don't want to say that word. Like a bad referral.
Oh my God, Oben! You should come like to the.
Oh my God, come in, come Oben. We're gonna have a cameo.
Hi, Olben.
Hi, Olben.
Good
Come
and
here.
you.
Come here.
We're filming.
We're filming.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Okay, quick. What's your thoughts on referrals?
Referrals, employee referrals.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard to get into get those referrals, But if you know that person, I think it'd be really good.
We were just talking about that.
But what about a stranger asking you for a referral?
Hell no. No. It's kind of like if I'm a stranger right now and I ask you, will you marry me?
Yeah.
Nah.
Who are you?
Who are you? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know the person also, because I know someone that was just getting a referral from a very important person, and because they're trying to get into Harvard, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
And so Harvard often gets referrals from people that are supposed to get from famous important people, but most of the time they just disregard them because they know most of the time they don't know that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to have a connection.
That's good. Thank you, Olben. Thanks for stopping by.
For sure.
Yeah, no, you're good. We love it.
Thank you.
We love Olben.
Yes.
Anyways, what were you saying? I think we were talking about it's kind of like if you don't know the person, TLDR, if you don't know the person, it's not right. It's think of it like you're asking somebody to marry them. Would you marry somebody you know or a stranger?
Exactly.
You got to think of it like that way. And so, and then what's another thing that people do wrong in your sessions?
I feel like not coming prepared. I want you to at least understand why you're there. So what do you want to get from me, right? What advice can I give you that would be of value? So if you don't do your homework on my experience, or you're not really sure what you want to do with your life, then I feel like I can help you even less. But if you come up to me and you're like, hey, Isabella, I've been applying to these positions, this specific company, I keep getting rejected, then I can be like, okay, let's look at your resume. Let's look at the positions. Let's look at how much it's aligning. And then I just feel like they can get more out of it.
Yeah.
But when they come unprepared, it's they're just oh, so tell me about yourself. I'm like, no, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, the point is
you're
for
the
us.
mentee.
Yeah, and it's you gotta think about it from your perspective, right? So you're a college student. You already know how to get into college. If some high schooler comes up to you and they're like, hey, tell me about yourself, and you don't know what kind of way to answer them, that's kind of weird. But then if someone comes up, if a high schooler comes up to me, be like, hey, I'm involved in all of these clubs at my school, I'm taking these courses, I'm thinking of these different colleges to apply to, but I'm kind of iffy on that experience, then I'm like, oh, I could help you out that way too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something especially when every time I ask someone for advice, I always try to be excited and put effort into it, because they can see that they like that too. I've noticed that as well.
When I talk with someone that's just uninterested, in my head I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
You scheduled a meeting with me.
Yeah.
Why are you here? If you're not even interested, you're not asking me questions,
they just want to look at your pretty face.
I don't know. But it is different. Even for me, when I've interviewed, been interviewed, the tone really sets the entire conversation.
Yes.
So I always have my interviewers understand that I am excited and honored to be there.
Yeah.
And I expect that same attitude with my mentees.
So I since you've worked with 150 people, I haven't even spoken with 150 people. What are some common challenges that people face in their early career, and what are some things that people can do to help navigate that?
It's hard because I feel nowadays having the degree is not enough.
Yeah.
So I feel the main challenge that I see with students is just not having enough on their resume, not getting involved with student organizations, not doing research, not putting in the extra effort. And unfortunately, in today's world, you need more than just a degree.
Yeah.
And so I see a lot of juniors that have never been to a club, have never done an internship, have never done research, don't have a job. So I'm just that you're graduating next semester, and I don't know like where to even start in terms of like what you can improve on.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's important for advisors to tell freshmen, yes, classes are important, but you need more than just the classes. Like, you need to start getting involved in your community, like start thinking about your future, and then like kind of try to picture where you want to be, and then like have a step-by-step process of how you're gonna get there. Because I just feel like people are not doing enough nowadays. Not that like they're not doing enough, but it's just like they need to do more to get to where they want. Because I feel like they have like big aspirations, but then not putting in like the work for it.
That's really interesting. I want to tap in more into that goal setting. You know, you're also not only a student, but you're also an entrepreneur, and I think this could help entrepreneurs as well. Do you have a certain framework on how you can like achieve big goals, or like good like productivity hacks that have helped you?
I feel like I focus on smaller goals before big goals.
Okay.
Like, for example, for me, my smaller goals are like doing well in class. So like every semester, my goal is like to excel. So like as a freshman, I wasn't thinking of the GPA I was gonna have as a senior. I take it semester by semester and just kind of like break it down.
Okay.
Same as like my club involvement and like where I was applying. Like when I was a freshman, I wasn't applying to Google or Tesla. Like I didn't have anything to give. But then by the time I was a junior and had already like worked on like different like projects and organizations, I was able to like set higher goals for myself. So I don't like to set goals that are like beyond a couple of months, maybe some years, because I just feel like it's not realistic. Like so much can happen in a year. That if I were to say in 6 years I want to be at Harvard Business School, I'm not even sure where I'm going to be in 6 years. Like where I'm going to be working. Like there's just so much that can happen in 6 years that I just don't really think about it, because I feel like that just opens the door to like disappointment when you don't reach it. And like you just don't have a lot of control over that.
And you're so young. You kind of want to be open as well.
Very open.
Very
That's
open.
Huge.
Yeah, because you've bounced around a bit. Yeah.
And I want to talk about being open, because my freshman year, I feel like I missed out on so many opportunities because I was so like close-minded. Like I only wanted to do
Don't even get me started,
biomedical
bro.
engineering. And if it wasn't a biomedical engineering company, specifically like Medtronic, I didn't want it.
Oh my God.
I didn't want it.
Oh my God.
And then by the time I was a sophomore and had gotten like so many rejections my freshman year, I was like, I'll do whatever. And it's funny because my freshman year, I was like, appliances? Like I would never work in appliances. And then sophomore year, my first internship was GE Appliances.
Yeah.
Because, like, you just need to be open to new opportunities. Because, like, sometimes what you think is best for you is not really best for you.
Yeah.
And just being open, you're probably going to learn more. You're going to grow more.
Yeah.
And you may be surprised. Like, maybe you find another passion.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I have, like, aspirations. But I feel like I'm very open-minded.
Yeah.
Like, if you would have told Isabella, like, freshman year, that she was going to be working with robotics when she graduated, I would have been like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Yeah, right.
No.
But, like, now I'm, like, so excited to work with Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
And it's because I've been open to, like I don't have a set industry that I want to work in. Like, I am really just open to learning, and I focus on the learning before, like, the product itself.
That is so good. Focus on the learning before your end goal, especially when you're young. I actually learned online, like, your first, like, your 20s specifically, or like your if you're just starting out, if you're like 18 years old, you shouldn't be worried about like how to be a millionaire in 3 months, how do I could be like super quick, like get successful super quick, be an entrepreneur, blah, blah. No, you should focus on learning as much as possible and like being open, porque a veces like some kids, like I used to be very terca, like I didn't want to, like, it's like they're stubborn.
Yeah.
And low self-esteem. That was the two things I was freshman year. Like, there was an opportunity that was in my email that I was like, oh, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not going to apply. Or like, oh, I'm not really that good at it. So why would I learn about that? Yeah. And now I want to like slap myself in the face, my young self. I was like, girl, you don't even like at that point, it's like, what am I going to do in the next 5 years? I don't even know what I'm going to do in the next 5 hours.
But it's so real, though.
Yeah.
And, like, you just need to be open.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. But, like, I also like the fact that just because you're being open and exploring, that you shouldn't have a plan. But you don't plan, like, 5 years ahead. You plan, like, every 6 months, every semester, quarter, like bring it down more. I
Exactly.
think like that way as well. I think every 3 months I'm always doing something different. If you
Yeah.
look at me and like what I've done, I always have like 3 month big projects every
Yeah.
3 months. Yeah.
Or maybe have like more general
a
plans.
focus. Yeah.
Like maybe your plan is to do 2 or 3 internships in your like 4 years in college.
yeah.
But if your plan was to do, I want to do like 3 internships in big tech, slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down.
Like,
yeah.
take it easy.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to be able to like even do 1 internship in big tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like, again, like your aspirations can change over time.
Yeah.
But it just, if you don't like, if you don't have like very, I don't know how you say it. Like if you don't think too much ahead, then I think there's like less room for disappointment at the end.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, that's just life.
Yeah. That way you could be more like, here's the thing. There's a movie I watched. I think it's called like The Little Prince or something like that, where it's like a mom who has a checker, like a calendar, a big calendar, and then she has smaller calendars, and then her daughter, her only job is to get into this like elementary school. And so from 0 to 5, she's been like training her daughter every day of like, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to say. And then on the day of the interview, the daughter was like freezing up to get into the school, and then she didn't get in. And so the mom was like, oh my God, because if you don't get into this, then you can't work there. And then if you don't go there, then she was panicking. And it was a really interesting movie about like having so much control over every single tiny detail of your life is not going to help you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta like explore. Yeah, it's not realistic at all.
Yeah.
You gotta have a good balance of setting goals, but also being open.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of routes to the same end goal.
Yeah.
And like if you are like so fixed on a single route, what if it doesn't happen that way?
Yeah.
You're gonna be like disappointed and you're gonna feel like a failure.
Yeah.
But then if you're open to like, oh, there's like different routes. Like if you really want to work in big tech, for example, and like you feel like a failure because you didn't get into big tech as an undergrad, I'm like, big tech is still gonna be there. You can apply again in 2 years, like after you graduate, and then be like a level 2 in big tech.
Yeah.
Like it's still gonna be there,
Yeah,
right?
it's
like,
not going anywhere.
like the route just like deviated a little bit, but it's just like the end goal is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your experience, what are the difference between like men and women when they're trying to achieve their goals, or is there a difference, or what have you noticed?
Honestly, I feel like the majority, because like I mainly do engineering students, the majority of my mentees have been men.
Yeah.
But I haven't noticed any like immediate like discrepancies between like men and women for like how they're approaching like their goals and like their internship search. I feel like in general, and I wouldn't say like all men have been this way.
Yeah.
But I have seen a little bit more entitlement with the boys.
Oh.
Yeah, like
Really?
they're the ones asking me for the referrals or like asking me if I'm doing mentorship for like my resume. Like sometimes I just feel like they're not, I don't know, like I feel like in a way they're like, oh, like if she did it, like I can do it too. Right? It's like, yes, you can, but like don't downgrade what I've accomplished just because you can do it too.
Yeah. I mean we did a workshop with women. How did you feel about that experience?
I feel like in general they tend to do like less like technical work, and then like they're competing against like the boys that are doing like a lot of heavy technical work. So I just feel like we need to empower women to do or like be less scared of the technical work, and that's something that like I've been working on personally. Like I feel like even in engineering, then women tend to go into like PM work, and it's like you guys can do SWE, or you guys can do mechanical design, but it's just like it's more intimidating in a way. But I think that we're missing like empowerment and like obviously when you look at like leadership and people that are doing like more technical work, I think in general because they're all men, like sometimes we don't see ourselves in their shoes, but we're working on it. I don't know.
I mean, she's right. She's already working on that. She's working with robots.
Working on it,
Are robots gonna kill us?
I don't think so.
I mean, they can.
Yeah, but like a car can kill you too. Right?
Okay.
Like I don't know. I feel like the future is like very optimistic in terms of robotics, and I think that automation is gonna really help us like grow as a civilization, and I think there's gonna be more benefits than negative sides of robotics. Like less injuries in the workforce, maybe like less elderly people that are like alone because they have a robot with them.
Like you've seen like what do you think about those freaking Tesla robots?
The oh my god, I forgot the name.
The
Optimus.
The Optimus, yeah.
I think they're cool. And like also I feel like people are like, oh, I don't want a robot in my house. I'm like, it doesn't have to be in your house.
Yeah.
But like robotics can be used in like the industry and like factories. They can do work that is like more harmful to humans. So I don't know. Like I just feel like there's so many benefits to robotics that I understand why people can be scared, but there's also like a huge like just list of positive things.
Yeah, I think people underestimate that like tech doesn't come out of like the air. Like it's not like AI doesn't come out of thin air.
Yeah.
Robots don't come out of thin air. So it's not like a freaking huge Optimus Prime robot. It's gonna come and beat you with a laser and burn down your house. Like we don't even have that much money to do that, make that happen.
I mean, it's a pretty like newly evolving industry, so I do assume that like there's gonna be like more regulations to it. Like maybe we won't be able to use robotics for like killing others, and that's fine. But like it's gonna happen, right? Like we're gonna have more regulations and just like safer robots for everyday use.
Do you know apparently we have all the technology available to duplicate humans, to like clone them, but like we're like scientists are not allowed to do it because of like the ethics boards. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, so I feel like people are scared that the world's gonna end. I'm just like, thank the ethics boards. They're not gonna make that happen. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot that we don't know, and I'm like grateful that we don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of like good humans making those decisions to like keep us safe.
Yeah.
So.
I have one more question. What's something that you wish you knew before you were when you were starting out in tech? What's something that you wish you knew?
There's so much that I wish I knew, and that's like why I do mentorship. But I feel like there's an
Maybe
idea of what we have of big tech versus like what it actually is.
Yeah.
So I feel like from an outsider perspective, like Google is like the ideal company for like anyone, right?
Yeah.
They have like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Very chill workplace. Like you can play pickleball at 10 a.m. They're like cutting edge in terms of like software. They're leading industry, etc. But sometimes like all of those like pros are not necessarily aligned with what you want, and that's okay. So I feel like just understanding that even though I'm going to an excellent like Fortune top 10 company, doesn't mean that that's the company for me. So just being like, and again, like it's just important to know this because a lot of people are like, oh, like I haven't been able to like get into tech, like I'm such a failure. I'm like, maybe it's not meant for you, like in a good way. Like maybe you would grow more at a smaller company, at a company that you can have more of an impact in. Like I don't think it's for everyone. Yeah. Honestly.
I feel like some people, you have to understand there's a difference between chasing a title versus chasing something that's gonna fit into your lifestyle.
Exactly. And fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because it's very personal. Like I really enjoyed my time at Google, but for mechanical engineering specific, I feel like I can do more at another company. Yeah. Because, like, they are a software company, not a mechanical engineering company. Yeah. So I kind of realized that, like, okay, like, maybe this isn't the company for me. And that's okay. And, like, I feel like now it's a bit hard because, like, people don't understand that. They're like, but why are you, like, returning to Google? Like, it's Google. They always say, it's Google. I'm like,
that's like saying, I mean, like, not everybody likes Drake, but Drake is Drake.
But it's just not for me. So, I don't know. Again, it's just being open to new opportunities and understanding that what may be ideal in, like,
what you think is ideal.
What you think is ideal may not be the best thing for you. It just trickles down to maybe it's not for you.
Okay, so we're in a phone call. You're in a phone call with little Isabella. She just graduated high school. What are you telling her? Hey, Isabella, just right now, ring, ring.
I feel like focus on the learning.
No, actually say it. Like, talk to her right now.
Hi, Isabella, how are you doing? I mean, in high school, I was, like, graduating class of 2020. So I would just say, like, be patient. Like, the pandemic will end. But I feel like also focus on the learning rather than chasing the grades. I am a grade chaser, and I think that's like a flaw that I have. Like,
I think that the Cambridge program messed you up with that because they teach you like you gotta good.
Like go for the straight A's.
Yeah.
And, like, it's fulfilling because like I can't lie to you, like it's fulfilling to see like straight A's in your transcript. But there was a point where I realized that I was book smart, and I noticed this like during my internships because they were like, oh, like please solve this, and I was like, I don't know how to do that. Can you give me like the step-by-step instructions, and then like what's the angle, right? Because like even in math, like you are taught to break down a problem, and there will always be a right answer, and like the answer that's like in the answer sheet that the professor has. But I feel like in the real world, that doesn't even exist.
It's very ambiguous.
It's ambiguous. Like there's no like specific approach to it. I think that was such a hard transition for me. And I think it would have been an easier transition if I would have focused more on learning and kind of like understanding the applications of what I was learning in the classroom and how it was actually applied in the real world environment. It was hard, but I got through it.
Goodbye, Isabella. You're gonna do great. You're gonna do good.
Keep up the good work. Sure.
What about a message for future Isabella? What do you wanna tell her?
Wow.
What do you wanna ask her? She's 30 years old. What does she look? I mean, you don't have to think about it, but like, maybe you could like tell her something.
Honestly, I think I would just try to, because I feel like with each stage in your life, you're kind of like trying to meet like what's expected of you. So I feel like at 30, there's like certain expectations that I would have for myself, but again, just like being open and like just because you think that you're gonna be married with kids by 30 doesn't mean that that's gonna happen. Yeah. So just like remember that life is, you know, not a linear like graph. It's a bit more like a stress strain curve of steel. So
a what?
Stress strain curve. Never mind.
It's like a mechanical engineering joke.
It's a joke, yeah.
Okay. I'm laughing still. It's okay.
Yeah, just like being open to new opportunities as always. And again, just because you're not at where you thought you would be doesn't mean that you're a failure. Because like I don't know where I'm going to be in 8 years. I really don't.
Wow.
So.
That's so good. Like you have compassion for not only your future self, but also your past self. Like compassion and empathy. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans. Yeah. You think that your future self is this perfect person. What if they're not? Yeah. What are you gonna think about that? You know, it's not about like the success that you have in a certain time. It's more of like your mindset throughout the whole way.
And it's like also your approach to it, right? I don't believe in perfection. Like there's always going to be flaws like everywhere. Yeah. But just understanding that is as good as you have been able to do it. And like that's like the perfection that you were able to like do. I think it's like also being understanding that like you can't always compare yourself to others and like other people's trajectory is going to look very different from yours. So just because you didn't make it to like Forbes 30 under 30 doesn't mean that you're not.
You're good. You're good, girl. Well, that's awesome. Bueno, Isabella, this was a really great conversation. I think we touched on a lot of the things I wanted to talk about. You know, you talked about your entrepreneurial ventures in your mentorship program. You talked about, you know, like the do's and don'ts in a mentorship session, and also some really good general life advice for everybody who's listening. So now, Isabella, before you leave, I want people to get to know you a bit more. I want you to share I'm going to give you a chance for you to share how can people reach you and anything that you'd like to promote.
So I'm big on LinkedIn. So if you guys
actually, I saw she got 2K followers.
You're like close to it,
You passed me, though. You're 2.250 or something.
Girl.
Yeah.
I'm
yes, I did stalk you. I stalk you all the time.
Let me see like what she's doing right now. So if you want to reach me, I'm very active on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn messaging for me is like top notch. Yeah. So in my LinkedIn, in my bio, you can see schedule a free coffee chat, and then that'll redirect you to my Calendly, and then you can have a chat with me. But if you just want to message me, you can always just DM me on LinkedIn, and I'm very responsive through there too. So. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Isa. Thank you, Coral. And have a great time in Boston. You're going to have a great time. Thank you. I'm excited, but it's going to snow next week, so I'm not excited about that. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to the Forward Thinker Show podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.